Good morning, students. It's actually nighttime right now for me because I am recording this on Veterans Day. So don't mind my lazy hangout outfit for this evening. So today for you, it is Friday, and I am on my way to Lake Tahoe for a wedding, and it's supposed to be snowing, and I never really seen snow. Chad's never seen snow, so we're really excited to go. So first, what we're going to start off with is your math book. So please get out your chapter 4 math book and turn to page 159, 159. The good thing about the video is you can pause at any time if you need to catch up. Okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to read the mid-chapter checkpoint. That's what this is. We already went over the distributive property. That's what we're doing in class. Well, that's what I'm doing with you tomorrow, Thursday. So turn to 159. Oops. Okay. So you're on page 100. My lovely camera. It does this a lot. Okay, 159. And it is our chapter 4. I do not know what's going on. Oh boy. Okay. It is the mid-chapter checkpoint for chapter 4. So we have our vocabulary, the first step. Choose the best term from the box to complete the sentence. So you're going to choose one of these to fill in these blanks. So we have the commutative property of multiplication and the distributive property of I'm sorry. Commutative property of multiplication, distributive property, and then multiple. So you have 3 choices. Number 1, a blank of 4 is any product that has 4 as one of its factors. So remember, product is the answer to a multiplication question.
Is a noun. And there are 2.
Well, I'm glad the YouTube video loaded that I'm going to show you in a little bit. And then factors are, so let me just tell you. So if it's 2 times 2 equals 4, that is our that is our product. And then these are the factors. Okay? So which one of these 3 describe if 4
types of nouns, common nouns, which name a type of person, place.
This is going to be a messy video, my friends, but that's okay. We love beautiful oopses. So a blank of 4 is any product that has 4 as one of its factors. Okay. This is an example of the blank property. So right here and here, this property states that multiplying a sum by a number is the same as multiplying each addend by the number and then adding the products. So what is this? This seems confusing, but look at this picture. What does this picture look like? Okay, it's one of these. Fill it in. Write one way to break apart the array, then find the product. Okay, so remember, break apart distributive property. So you need to first, what is the multiplication problem? I want you to write the multiplication sentence on the side, and then I need you to break it apart. Do the same for 3 and 4. 5 through 13, I just want you to find, multiply them. But guess what? We're not in class, so you need to show your work. Except for number 8. You don't need 8. Okay, so 5, 8, and 9, you don't need to show your work. Oh, and 12. So let's see. 5, 8, 9, and 12, you don't need to show your work, but all the other ones you do. Let's flip it over to the back. Lori saw 6 lightning bugs. They each had 6 legs. How many legs did the lightning bugs have in all? Okay, so cubes. So figure that out. Number 15. Zach walked his dog twice a day for 7 days. Moira walked her dog 3 times a day for 5 days. What dog was walked more times? How many more? This is 3 steps. You're going to have 2 multiplication problems, and then you're going to have 1 subtraction problem. I'll give you that hint, right? Okay. Cubes is going to help you. This is a big, challenging problem. Number 16. Annette buys 4 boxes of pencils. There are 8 pencils in each box. Jordan buys 3 boxes of pencils with 10 pencils in each box. Who buys more pencils? How many more? This is the same. There will be 2 multiplication problems and then 1 subtraction problem to find your answer. Cubes is going to help you. Shelly can paint 4 pictures in a day. How many pictures can she paint in 7 days? This one is more simple. I still want you to do cubes because I want you to draw a picture. This one is not, this one's just going to be a 1-step problem. All right, so I want you to work on that. If you need to pause this video while you finish your mid-chapter checkpoint, please do. And then we are going to, you're going to just stare at my beautiful face for a second because I'm going to see what's going on with the video. See if it'll work. Of course it doesn't want to work. All right. We're going, that video is not working for us, so it's your lucky day. So we're going to move on to our reading. All right. So last time we read this story, we were taking predictions on whether Grandpa really did get a castle when he joined America. So let's, find out if that is true.
Julie's grandmother came back to the sofa carrying a box. Did Grandpa tell you about the horrible little room he shared with Louis, the cigar maker, and Herman the tailor? She asked as she sat down. In those days, people had to take in boarders to help pay the rent. Life was hard. Grandpa had a pushcart. He sold buttons 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. The only rest he got was on Sabbath. Poor Grandpa, Julie said, and she patted his hand.
Sounds like he did not get a castle. What he had to do is share a tiny room with strangers that he didn't know. That is what boarders were called. So he needed people to help him pay for the room. So he had, like I said, strangers, the cigar maker, the tailor, they lived with him. Not even like roommates. Usually roommates, you get your own room. They didn't get their own room. And how he survived was pushing a push cart. They called it a push cart because look, he's pushing it. And he sold buttons. And that's what he did. He rested on Sabbath, which is Sunday. So Sunday was the only day he took off. He didn't take off Saturday and Sunday, just Sunday.
Julie's grandfather was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "But what buttons I had! Buttons carved from diamonds, emeralds, and rubies. Buttons as big as saucers. Buttons as big as plates. Buttons you could use as sleds in the snow." Julie's grandmother sighed loudly. Grandpa sold small buttons, small enough to fit through buttonholes. "I'll show you," she said as she opened the box. The box was filled with photographs. Julie's grandmother took out an old photograph in a cardboard frame. In it, Julie's grandfather stood next to his pushcart, which was full of little buttons.
It sounds like Julie's grandmother is, like I said, the realist. She is saying everything how it was, and her grandfather's really positive. I I would not like to push around a cart selling buttons all day, and he thought of it as diamonds. He says buttons carved from diamonds, emeralds, and rubies. That is not true. He's making that up, but he's trying to make it not so sad for his granddaughter. Moment, remember, is a brief amount of time, so she paused and then she spoke. And then photographs, we know photographs. They're real pictures that are taken and they're actually on paper. So she's holding a photograph to show her.
Grandpa looks so strong, Julie said, feeling proud. Julie's grandfather found a photograph of a young girl and showed it to Julie. This is a picture of your grandmother, he said. She was very famous in those days. Everyone spoke of Mr. Whitkin's beautiful daughter Rose, who stayed home all day, nibbling chocolates. Her 5 big brothers had to watch so that nobody stole her away. I worked 6 days a week in a factory then, sewing dresses. But I was very pretty, Julie's grandmother said, smoothing her hair. You are still very pretty, Julie's grandfather said, and he kissed her cheek. In Russia, your grandmother sewed for royalty. She made stitches so small they couldn't be seen. People wondered how the dresses stayed together. That part is true, Julie's grandmother said proudly.
So, of course, the grandfather again is fibbing. The grandmother was not a famous person, a celebrity, but you could tell they're very much still in love after all these years. So I'm sure that is something Julie is looking up to. Another thing to prove their sacrifice, so things they gave up to come to America, was the grandmother sewed for royalty, which is like, I guess in America, her sewing for the President of the United States and the First Lady, who is the wife of the president. So that is a big deal. And she left that. They left that to come to America. So even with that job, Russia still was not good for them.
As soon as I met your grandmother, I wanted to marry her, Julie's grandfather said. Every night I hired fireflies to fly over her house and spell out Rose, my precious flower, I love you every hour. And Moisha and I sang love songs under her window. Finally, her father let me marry her. A year later, your mother was born. No one had ever seen such a beautiful child. Then Esther, Ruthie, and Benny were born, and they were just as beautiful. I made them tiny jeweled crowns, and they rode through the streets in hand-carved golden baby carriages.
Let's see, it's been a long time since I've read this story, but do you think that he could really hire fireflies to have them spell Rose, my precious flower, I love you every hour? I don't think so. I'm going to make a prediction on no. And I'm also going to make a prediction that he did not have hand-carved golden baby carriages for them either. But what I do think is true is he waited patiently for Julie's grandmother's father, so her great-great-grandfather, to say yes. And I do believe that that's when he had all his children after he married Julie's grandmother.
Enough is enough, Julie's grandmother said. From now on, I insist that Julie hear only the truth. Grandpa and I had to work even harder to feed all those babies, but we didn't mind. We had something more valuable than jeweled crowns and golden baby carriages. We had each other, and we were free to live as we wanted. That's the truth, Rose dear, Julie's grandfather said. And from now on, that's all that will pass through my lips. They sat quietly for a few minutes. Then Julie's grandfather smiled and whispered to Julie, "Did I ever tell you about the time Moisha the goat and I sang for President Wilson?"
So if you look at the illustrations, these are very dramatic illustrations. They are not true. They are not bigger than these buildings. But also on this page, Julie's grandmother is saying, "I only want the truth now." Well, on page 139, the way he's kind of whispering to her is he's telling her a secret, which we could predict that what he's about to tell her is not true again, because he doesn't want his wife to hear him. All right, so let me stop. Oh, actually, let me tell you where to go next. So what I want you to do now is in your third grade brain check, 12, 13, and 14. Please go to the very last page. And I want you to take our vocabulary brain check. Okay, so it looks like this. Oopsies. All right. Now, this is where I'm going to see if you watch the video. On the back, I want you to complete all of this. And then on the back, write 5 sentences using our vocab. Okay, so what I mean by that, and you can write that on the top, is if you want to choose immigrated, then you are on the back, you're going to write number 1, and I want you to write a sentence using immigrated. Okay, so write this down. I'm going to flip it over, pause it. What I mean by that is on the back, I want you to write I want you to write 5 sentences. So number 1, choose one of those vocabulary words. Use that word in a sentence. Choose another vocabulary word. Write it in a sentence. Another, another, and another. Okay? All right, so you can pause this video to get that complete. Move it back to me. Fingers crossed that that video worked again. Oh, it actually erased. Let's see. While you're working, I'm going to try to find that video. I don't know if it's something wrong with YouTube, but our videos are just not wanting to work. Yeah. All right, yeah, YouTube is not working. I've never experienced that before. All right, so you are out. You do not have to do the noun, proper and common noun that I was going to have you do. So what your assignments are for the day, if you just watch this video all in once without pausing, you need to finish your mid-chapter checkpoint. You need to complete your vocabulary, and you need to write 5 sentences on the back. You need to make sure your science is completed 100%. You have read for 30 minutes, and everything in your 12, 13, 14, this whole package is finished except for the bingo on the back. And then in your 3rd grade activities, you need to finish your turkey project. Okay, make sure you finish that disguised turkey project. And you are good to go. And I will see you Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody.